Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're doing the Shrine of Secrets review for the 19th of October 2022. I've got a bit more time today, so I should be able to upload this after I record it, because last time I had to record it on the Wednesday but then upload on the Thursday. So I'm probably just going to upload after this because I've got a bit more time today, so apologies for that last week. But anyway, let's just get started. First of all, we have Iron Will, which is a Jake perk, and this one has it so when you're injured, your grunts of pain get reduced by 75%, but this does not happen when you are exhausted. So you get injured and your grunts of pain are much quieter. It's much harder to pinpoint where you are, but if you're exhausted from exhaustion perks or add-ons or anything, it doesn't do that basically. It doesn't work, and you have to wait until you're not exhausted anymore. And I feel like these days, with so many exhaustion perks and exhaustion perks just being popular, I feel like it's kind of difficult because some characters have really loud grunts of pain. So I feel like people mainly use this, to be honest, on characters they main if they have really loud grunts of pain. But that's just my opinion. But it is a good stealth perk as well, other than the fact, like I said, that it does not work while exhausted. It also did get nerfed. It used to be 100% reduced at tier 3, which basically means there'll be no grunts of pain, but they have done it now, so it's 75%, which is still good, and that's still great, but it's not completely silent, and now you can't get it completely silent unless you have a character who has really quiet grunts of pain, like Ada, for example, and you use this with her. I guess that's probably the closest, but other than that, yeah. So, good stealth perk. It's not bad. Just keep in mind the exhaustion thing, because sometimes it can get on your nerves a little bit. Next up, we have Live, which is a Feng perk, and this is one of the exhaustion perks we were just talking about. When you vault a window, well, when you fast vault over a window or over a pallet, you get the 3-second speed boost for 150% speed, and then it causes exhausted for a bit. This one, I feel like this is probably like an exhaustion perk that like a lot of people use early on, I think. I think it's still okay to use this depending wherever you are in your Dead by Daylight career, shall we say. But I think this one is just a bit more popular because it's probably the easiest one to trigger. Sprint Burst is like a bit complicated. You have to kind of use that properly. And a Dead Hard is quite difficult to use, and then the other ones are just kind of meh. But this one is pretty easy because all you have to do is just vault window, which you're going to be doing in chases anyway. And that's the easiest way to get a speed boost. Sometimes when I use this perk, I forget I have it, so sometimes in like a really closely knit loop, and then I vault window, and then I have a speed boost, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, what do I do with this? And then I've already wasted like half of it just standing there being like, oh yeah, I've got a speed boost. So you could use that to get distance and just run away, or if you're staying in the loop, you can just use it to just go around the loop much faster and, make the killer a bit confused. So I definitely think it's not bad. I just think it's a bit easier to trigger, and I feel like it's more popular for like beginners, but that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying this bad thing at all. I'm just pointing that out because it's, you just fast forward window really. And over a pallet, I feel like people forget that one. You can just fast forward over a pallet as well. But yeah, still good. I still use this from time to time, so there you go. Next up, we have a Nurse's Calling, which is a nurse perk, and this one shows the auras of survivors who are being healed or are healing other survivors in a 28-meter range. Also, if they're healing themselves, by the way. Anytime, basically, someone's being healed, or if healing is just taking place at all, you'll see their auras in 28-meter range. I feel like this one is prime on stealth killers. I've talked about this perk a few times before, but I will always say that stealth killers get the most value out of this, because if you're getting a lot of injures and a lot of pressure, the survivors have no choice but to heal. And if you're a stealth killer, they're going to be focused on healing and not like focusing on if there's a tear radius nearby. So sometimes you'll be able to get some good hits, some downs, or even just, scare them a bit, I guess. Wraith, Pig, Ghostface, Myers. I guess even Nurse herself, she could just get right up to them, so maybe Blight as well. But I think mainly stealth killers, because they can just sneak up on people healing and down them, injure them, whatever. Interrupt them, basically, is the main focus. Yeah, and like I said, you don't have to do anything for this. The only thing I would say is that you don't really get like a notification or anything. for when auras appear. So if you're not looking at where the aura is showing, you're not going to notice it, if that makes sense. So basically, just be aware when using this perk. Make sure you, like, you know, if you've got a lot of injures, make sure to keep looking around you, because sometimes you might walk past people who are healing because the perk doesn't tell you that they're healing, if that makes sense. You have to physically see the auras. There's no, like, noise cue or anything. If that makes sense, I don't know if that made sense. But basically, just be aware when using this perk that there's no sound cue or anything. So, yes, and finally we have Save the Best for Last, which is a Shape/Myers perk. This is an obsession perk, and every time you hit someone who is not the obsession, you get a token, which goes into 8 tokens, and each token makes your weapon recovery animation a bit faster. So if you get up to 8 tokens, it basically plays in like half a second or a second or something. I can't remember. And it just saves you a lot of time from standing there and just looking at your knife or your sword or whatever. You can just get right back into the chase. However, if you hit your obsession, you lose 2 tokens at tier 3. I think, yeah, the first tier is brutal because it makes you lose like half of the tokens. You lose like 4, I think, which is crazy. And then tier 2, you lose 3. And then tier 3, you only lose 2. And basically, I think this perk is good for killers who struggle in chase, and also good for killers who have like a secondary ability. So Wesker, Pig, Demo with his Shred ability. Killers who have secondary attacks that aren't counted as basic hits, if that makes sense. And also, when the obsession is killed, you keep all your tokens and you can't lose or gain any. So I think this perk shines, like I said, with those killers or killers who just struggling chase, so maybe like Wraith or Freddy or something. But I feel like this killer forces you to play really differently, and I don't always think that's a good thing, because sometimes you want to just have a chase, especially if it's the obsession. It means you kind of have to play weirdly, you know? So if you're one of those killers with secondary abilities, you have to kind of use those on the obsession consistently. And if you're not that consistent with them, then you're going to have to just be okay with losing tokens, basically. Pardon me. And I think I think it's a good perk. It's hard to explain. It is a good perk. I use this perk on a lot of killers. It's so nice. Once you get like at least 4, you can really notice the difference. And then from then on, the animation just goes so quick. And at 8 tokens, it literally just flashes by. But like I said, it kind of forces you to play weirdly, because it's fine if you just go after non-obsessions, because you can literally just hunt them down and just keep on them all the time. But when it's the obsession, if you have a secondary ability, it feels like you have to just use that. So for like the Pig example, that's really awkward because an ambush dash is so awkward, because you have to crouch and it's like a 2-second charge, and then you have to make sure you land that hit. I think with like Demo, it's not too bad because the shred's quite easy. You know, you just charge in a straight line. It takes like a second to wind up. And with Wesker, kind of the same thing. You get 2 shots to hit them with Virulent Bound, is it called? So, yeah. But if you're playing a killer who does not have one of those secondary abilities, you basically just have to forfeit stacks. And sometimes that can be really annoying. You know, if you know the obsession's down the hook, and you know you keep hitting them, and then like you've only got 2 tokens left, and then you kill them, and then that means like maybe you want to slug them, so now you're just forfeiting a kill because you want to just get tokens. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a strange perk, because like I really like it, but I also think it's quite flawed, because it completely alters the way you play a match. It's like that with basically any obsession perk, to be honest. Like, Remember Me, for example, people like to play very weirdly with that. Like, people like to just go after the obsession, get the 4 tokens, and then like tunnel the obsession out of the game because the obsession isn't affected by Remember Me. Or even Michael's other perk, Play With Your Food. You have to go to the obsession and then like lose chase, so you have to let them go just to get a token that will get used up in like 5 seconds when you swing. It's so weird. But yeah, ultimately I think this perk is good, and while it does, I just think you should keep in mind how much you have to like change your play style to just get some value out of this, and then you have to decide if that value is worth it in the first place, because like I said, this perk is quite weird like that. So I don't know. Ones to buy. Honestly, I think these are like free characters. Again, I can't remember how it works on PC because I got the complete edition or something for Dead by Daylight on console. So I got like some chapters for free. I don't know if you have to buy Feng on PC. I honestly can't remember. If someone can let me in the comments, no, that'd be much appreciated. But I think Jake's definitely free for everyone. So I always say don't get perks from free characters. It's just worth it to level up those characters. It doesn't take very long. Um, Michael, yeah, I would say buy this. I would say buy this genuinely. It's just a case of if you think having that animation just a bit faster is worth it for changing how you play, and maybe even forcing you to play with other killers like Demo and the ones I mentioned. Um, Nurse's Call looks good, but Nurse, again, I'm pretty sure she's free. I'm not 100% sure, but I think all of Nurse's perks are good in some way, so I would probably just say level her up anyway. So probably just save the best for last, really. The other ones you can level up. Live, if you're like newer or you want to just be better in chase and learn how to chase better, definitely pick up Live. But like I said, I'm not sure if Feng is free for like all platforms or not. So if she is, then don't get it because just level up Feng. Get it as a teachable. Even if you only prestige once, and just have that perk for level 1 for everyone. That's fine. Um, yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. But guys, that do it from me. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you found this useful. I'm going to see if in the next few weeks I'll be able to get some videos done, but we'll see about that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.